All right, now I'm going to show you how to create multiple layers because we're going to be working with several different layers in our quad. And you should already have it all cleaned up before you start doing this. So make sure you finish cleaning up and touching up any broken lines or anything like that. And you should have stored that in your CG1 folder. So here I have this. If I double click on it, I can open with Photopea. Now remember, if you don't see this, you can click on here and do connect more apps, and then you have the Photopea app connected right to your Google Drive. Right, so I'm going to open with Photopea. It take a minute. Sometimes it does this, or it doesn't open. So I just close it and I try again. There we go. So if it doesn't open, just try again. All right. Now it can be a little tricky, so you have to be really careful about how you're saving your files, but we'll talk about that when we get to the end. All right, so when I open it, you see that in my layers menu here, I have the background, right? And I only have a background layer. Now we aren't going to touch anything on this. Before you start any work, you should see that this is all clean and clear and there's no broken lines, and then you will save it. So make sure that it's all ready to go. All right, and then we're going to duplicate the layers. So I'm going to right click, duplicate layer. And I'm going to call the first layer my choice. So you double click on the words layer 1 and type in my choice. Enter. Right, and then you need to make 2 more layers. So I right click, duplicate layer, double click on the words, and I'm going to call this color theory. Now you're not going to color anything on here yet because I'm going to tell you next week about what you're going to do with this. All right, so don't do anything to that. I'm going to make 1 more layer, duplicate layer, and we're going to double click on the words and call it texture. So you should have background, my choice, color theory, and texture layers. Right, so don't do anything with the texture color theory. Notice how that it's highlighted on texture. That means that is the active layer. So see what happens when I click, right? It changes, right? So you want to always make sure that you're on the layer that you want to be working on. So if I'm going to be coloring on my choice, I should make sure it's highlighted. I'm going to hide these others, right? And I'm going to highlight my choice. Then you are ready to color. Okay, so to color, you're going to use the paint bucket, and you're only going to work on my choice this week. Don't do these other ones, and never color or make any changes to the background once you've made your layer, your 3-layer duplicates. The background is your safety net for if anything happens, and you can copy and paste this and actually fix. You can do a lot of fixes from this. So we are not going to do anything to that. So we're only coloring on my choice. And to color, we have the gradient tool, and you press and hold and you choose paint bucket. Okay, so now a little bit about coloring. Okay, so these 2 little things down here at the bottom are your colors for the background and the foreground. The color that is at the top left, which is white, that is what is going to color when you dump your paint bucket. Well, right now, the only thing that you could really color would be the black lines, and then everything would disappear, right? So you can switch your color by clicking on that little arrow right there, and watch that, it switches them. So that's kind of a nice thing to have if you're trying to work with 2 colors and you want to switch back and forth between them. I am going to make that one black, actually. And I'll show you why in a minute. So I'm going to pick a color. So I'm going to go in and you just click on it and then you can slide up and down this little rainbow, right? Slide up and down the spectrum. And then I'm going to pick a yellow because I want to make a sun. I want to color my little sunshine thing. So I'm going to pick yellow and I'm going to color every other one of these little stripes, every other one. So I want to say something about this because a lot of students make this mistake. Don't go in and color all of this the same color because it'll be boring. Don't color all of these the same color. It'll be boring. You want to color, you want to balance your colors out throughout your art. And you also want to make you've designed all these nice little patterns with decorations inside, and you want to make sure that you take advantage of that. So I would color at the minimum every other one, or you could do like a rainbow, like this could be a rainbow, or if I'm making it a sun, maybe I'll make like orange, yellow, or red, orange. Okay. So don't do a boring coloring everything all the same. If I colored this whole thing in all yellow, it would be really boring. I'm just saying. So also another thing is to spread your color around. So unify your piece, right? Unity by adding the same color in other places. So I might go in and I might color this yellow. And maybe I'm going to color this little stripe on the rocket ship yellow. And maybe I will color in something down here yellow. And you can always change it. So anytime that what happens when you use the paint bucket is whenever you click an area that's all the same color, it colors everything in that area the color. And because there's black lines, what happens is it stops when it hits those black lines, which is why it is so important for all of your lines to be connected so that it doesn't spill out. So if I want to change the color, I can go in and I can pick another color and I can change the color just by clicking right on top of it. All right. And if I want to undo it, I do Command Z or Control Z. And if I want to pick a color that I've already used, like see how I have orange chosen now? If I want to make sure it's the exact same color, if I hold the Option key, if I press the Option or the Option key, I can get this. Now on your Chromebooks, I'm not sure if that'll work. So what you'd have to do is just click on this and then you should be able to go out and pick a color. Like if I click on white, it'll pick white, or if I click on yellow, it'll pick yellow. So I can pick a color that I've already used. So if I want to go back and pick the same color, because I want to do more of the same color, I just click on the color down here, and then it'll pop up the color picker, and then I can just click. So if I want to pick white, I click on the white. See how it chose white? Or if I click on the yellow, it'll choose yellow. If I click on black, it'll choose black. Okay, so I don't think I need to do, oh yeah, I wanted to do some stars yellow. So I'm going to add a few stars in this yellow. And then I'm going to pick another color. So notice how I have spread out my yellow to unify my piece. So it's not just pick a color, dump the color, pick a color, dump the color. You don't want to do that because then it just doesn't look well planned out. But if you spread the color around a little, it looks like you meant to do it, right? So if I do this, I might want to add a little bit more in here to kind of unify this section, all right? And then I can go pick another color. So I'm going to do some orange. So whatever the new color is that you're choosing, if you want to see it contrasted with the color you just had, it shows that up on this top part. And so now I have an orange, and now I'm going to go in and make this little sunshine area. Every other one is going to be orange. Now see how that's so much more interesting than just making this all yellow, right? And then to unify it, I might add a few stars with this color. Now, what happens if you accidentally hit a black line? Look at what it does. It colors the black line. You can do Command Z or Control Z and it'll undo it. But if you happen to go down the line and you're like, whoops, I forgot that I did that, you can always switch it to black. Right, so if I color this orange and I go down and I color a bunch of things, I can always swap my black, pick a black, and then I can go in and just hit it and turn it back into black. Okay, so I'm using orange. I'm gonna do a few things with orange just to kind of unify my piece, right? I'm just adding like some of these little things even. And maybe I'll do maybe something in here. It doesn't have to be a lot, and I can always come back and change it later too. Okay, so whatever I choose, I can come back and change later. And then I think I'll do some orange on this too. And then maybe I'll do some red. I'm not going to color this whole thing in the video, but so see what I just did with this? It's more interesting if I do every other one, or maybe I could make it like a gradient, like make it red, orange, yellow, you know, make it get lighter. So I can add some reds in some other places around my piece. But I hope that you're getting what I'm saying here about unifying your color throughout your piece, or unifying your piece by using color. Now, don't forget, you got to zoom way in when you got a little tiny piece like that. Right? Okay, so zoom in to make sure that you press the space bar and the command key. Right? And then Command 0 will zoom it back out to the whole page. All right, so, you know, maybe I want to get some of these little dots, but I want to zoom into this area, right? If I'm going to do that, because I don't want to accidentally hit the black. Let's see, maybe. All right, let's see. So I've kind of unified it with some red. I might make some of these other little dots in here red. I might make them blue. I don't know. I can come back to it later if I decide to do something. Maybe I'll go in here and I'll do like every other one of these. Right. So remember, not the same color, the whole thing. Just make it interesting. Plus, this gives you an opportunity to unify your piece by using a little bit of color, right? Like even here, maybe doing the insides of these little dots. Whoops. See, Command Z. So whenever you whoops and you accidentally color something, right away do Command Z and it'll undo it. Gotta zoom way in for that tiny little dot. And if I wanted it to be bigger, I could always go in and get my pencil and just choose the pencil and make a really small, like I could go in and, you know, fill that in a little bit more. Of course, I'd have to do it on all of them now, right? And then back to my bucket. All right, so I've done my red and so on. Okay, so now I've been working in class all day and I'm ready to save this, and I'll come back tomorrow and I'll open it tomorrow and I'll finish coloring it. You have to be really careful about this. So it's a little finicky as far as joining it on Photopea. Remember how I had trouble opening it and I had to try again. So you want to do File, Save to Google Drive. Okay, don't click any of these other things. Click Save to Google Drive. So see when I touch that, how it popped this up? Ignore that. Just go back in and, whoops, Command Z. Go back in and do File, Save. And it should save it because you opened it from your Google Drive. Now, if you didn't, so now it's saving it. So now when I go back into my Google Drive, you'll be able to see, you can barely see, but it's colored in already with all the colors I used. But if you're a little concerned about that, like I would check it first, right? Just check it and see if it looks like what you just did before you close out of Photopea. But if you're worried about that, or if you've had any problems, just do File, Save as PSD, and that will go to your Downloads folder, and then you can drag it onto into your folder. But I always want you to be saving the latest version of whatever you did. Like today, I just finished doing this, and now this is the latest version that's in my folder. I know some of you have asked about this white border. It just does that. It's not really there. It just puts, that's just like the border. If I had like this all colored in, it would have this white border around it. It doesn't mean anything. It's not on your actual work. Okay, so I'm done for the day, and I know that it's saved in my folder, so now I can close it. And now it's here, and I'm ready to come back tomorrow and reopen it again. And when I open it back in Photopea, it'll be ready. All right, so again, make sure that you, before you color, I'm just going to open this back up again real quick. Okay, see how it didn't open? I have to try again. Sometimes it takes a minute. It doesn't want to open. Right, we're not going to open it, I guess. Go back. I'm going to refresh this. I'm going to try again. See how finicky it is? It'll work. Okay, good. All right, so I just want to remind you, see, look, it always defaults back to the gradient tool. So always choose the paint bucket under there. Also, don't forget, before you do any coloring at all, choose My Choice. And make all 3 layers, make the new 3 layers. Don't take away the background one. Save that for emergencies. You should have all 4 layers, right? So this is your original layer, then you make these 3. It's right click, duplicate layer, and then you double click to change the name. All right, well, have fun doing My Choice. It's whatever kind of color scheme you want to do. And then we'll talk about color theory and texture next time.